The FBI appears to be dragging their feet when it comes to whether its facial recognition systems meet the privacy and accuracy standards, a bar set by the Government Accountability Office. Now, the GAO says the Bureau was first flagged on this 3 years ago and have yet to revamp the system that they, along with many other law enforcement agencies, use. It's called Next Generation Identification Interstate Photo System, or NGI IPS. Joining us to break this all down, investigative journalist Ben Swann. All right, Ben, first, can you tell us a little bit about this NGI IPS system?
Right, so enough acronyms for you here, right? The NGI IPS system, and you just said it right now, it's the Next Generation Identification System. Under that is the IPS, the Interstate Photo System. Essentially, it is to replace another system with another acronym, AFIS, which is the system that the FBI currently uses as its fingerprint database. That's how most people would know it. Obviously, the FBI has the largest fingerprint database in the United States, possibly in the world. And so what they do is they take that system and now they're trying to roll it into a facial recognition system instead. They say it's more accurate than the fingerprint system, and that it allows them to connect suspects across the country. So let's say that police in Arkansas are looking for someone, they send it to the FBI, a photo, and the FBI then scans its massive database of all these images in order to find facial recognition that would most likely connect to that suspect. That's the idea behind it.
So if this other three-letter acronym government agency, the GAO, if they found a problem with it, addressed it with the FBI, how come nothing has been done to improve the system? They've had 3 years.
Right, so they've had 3 years to do this in, and something like 11 recommendations were originally made. And according to the GAO, only 2 of those recommendations have been implemented at all, right? Which is kind of interesting, because one of the issues that was implemented was to increase the size of the database. So the only thing you're actually following is to say, let's make it bigger.
Let's make the problem bigger.
Everything else, absolutely, but everything else has been ignored. And a couple of the things that now the DOJ, or excuse me, the GAO is recommending to the FBI is that they had their original 11. They've now added 4 more to this. And these include things like, establishing protocol for whistleblower complaints, or technology. How do you improve the technology to make it more accurate? How do you work with immigration courts? So they have a lot of different recommendations that have been made. But the bottom line is that what the GAO has asked them to do is make sure the technology actually works. That's really what it comes down to. It is stunning to think that the recommendation you make sure the technology of facial recognition works, is the main thing that the FBI and the DOJ so far have completely ignored.
What a shocking ask of them, of the GAO, right? Hey, you're going to use this brand new technology, this new system. Can you make sure it works? All right. I mean, given that it doesn't work, at least a high enough percentage of the time that we should kind of be worried here, what are the dangers that you see that could arise from all of this inaccuracy?
Well, look, so you have 2 questions here. One is it inaccurate? And number 2, what happens if it's inaccurate? The first question, is it inaccurate? Nobody can answer that question for you. Even the FBI cannot answer that question. And here's why. Because the FBI has not so far, and the DOJ has not so far, done a single self-audit to determine whether or not this system is accurate. That's one of the complaints that the GAO was making here. You don't even know if the system works or not because you've never checked into it. The FBI's reason, by the way, Manila, for why they have not checked into this is this. They say no one has complained so far. No one's complained. We don't know that you're using the system to track people with facial recognition. So how would the average person make a complaint? Number 1. Number 2, the question is not only, does it work? So we don't know. But if it doesn't work, what is the ramification for that? Well, the ramification for that is false positives that you have. I gave you the example, a suspect maybe in Arkansas who's being looked for, FBI runs them through the database, and then the technology begins to pull lots of faces. And if you get flagged with false positives, you have people who are possibly arrested, possibly charged with a crime, possibly, going on trial because facial recognition says that this was the person who was at a crime scene, even though that person may not have been. So it is not, we don't even know whether it's accurate or not, let alone basing a court system or a legal system on this technology.
I mean, Ben, what a bizarre Twilight Zone type nightmare, right? If this were to happen.
Very dystopian, right? Very dystopian.
Yes, very dystopian. I mean, what if you happen to be flagged by their system, you're the wrong guy, now you're dragged through the court system, you've paid thousands of dollars to lawyers to clear your name. So let me ask you this. The FBI, they fall under the purview of the DOJ. If this system is proven to have falsely identified someone, what sort of recourse might that person have? Who do they contact? I mean, the DOJ directly?
Well, I mean, I suppose you would contact the DOJ, but how would you know whether or not any of this had happened until you were sitting on trial? So even if you're arrested, they're not going to tell you when they arrest you, by the way, we ran you through this biometric database for facial recognition to determine you're the suspect. That's not what they're going to tell you, right? They're going to say, we have proof that it was you. And then when you get to trial, they'll have to unveil how they were able to identify you. So it's far enough down the road that someone's life can be completely turned upside down by this. And again, it's hugely problematic that there is no understanding so far of whether it's accurate or not, whether it even works. Remember, Amazon, put out their facial recognition, which is closely aligned with government. And in that case, they had members of Congress being wrongly matched to
mugshots.
Right. Maybe it shouldn't be wrong, but in this case, it was wrong.
All right, well, I'm not going to touch
the people
that.
in Congress they've never been busted. But for the people who have been busted, they were being connected to the members of Congress. The bottom line is that the technology, regardless of who's creating it right now, is way behind, and it certainly is not a perfect system by any means. The fact that the GAO is urging the DOJ and the FBI to audit their system and to make it better, and they're being ignored, should be a huge alarm for all of us.
Just terrifying to any schmo on the street that could be wrongly accused by artificial intelligence. So, all right, Ben, we'll leave it right there. You have a great weekend. Ben Swann, thank you so much for your time today.
Manila, thanks.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.